must be dreaming. Well, if he is dreaming, then he must be asleep. And if he's asleep, then I will wake him up. Oh.
The alchemical stone, the lapis, symbolizes something that can never be lost or dissolved, something eternal that some alchemists compared to the mystical experience of God within one's own soul. It usually takes prolonged suffering to burn away all the superfluous psychic elements concealing the stone, but some profound inner experience of the self does occur to most people at least once in a lifetime. From the psychological standpoint, a genuinely religious attitude consists of an effort to discover this unique experience and gradually to keep in tune with it.
Thank you.
We have only 35 chambers. There is no 36.
I know that. But I want to create a new chamber.
Oh? And what would that be?
Shaolin skills are confined here. And in my view, that's a great pity.
It is relevant that a stone is itself something permanent, so that the self becomes an inner partner toward whom one's attention is continually turned. Trying to give the living reality of the self a constant amount of daily attention is like trying to live simultaneously on two levels or in two different worlds. One gives one's mind, as before, to outer duties, but at the same time one remains alert for hints and signs, both in dreams and in external events, that the self uses to symbolize its intentions, the direction in which the life stream is moving. Thus, in the midst of ordinary outer life, one is suddenly caught up in an exciting inner adventure, and because it is unique for each individual, it cannot be copied or stolen. There are two main reasons why man loses contact with the regulating center of his soul. One of them is that some single instinctive drive or emotional image can carry him into a one-sidedness that makes him lose his balance. This also happens to animals. For example, a sexually excited stag will completely forget hunger and security.
Why the fuck do people keep doing this shit to us?
I mean, because your costume's good. What are you talking about?
Why not?
Why not? Yeah. Look at you, devil. Look at you, devil. Yeah, I like it. You really? You already there. Are you Scorpio?
Hey, can I see the picture?
What's your birthday? Oh, shit. That makes sense. I'm Scorpio. My birthday's next week.
Wow, we go good together.
Yeah, for real. Devil? Angel? My name's Gabriel, like the angel. What's your name?
Vanessa.
Oh, you look just like Vanessa. The right. Can I get your number? Maybe talk about this one?
This one-sidedness and consequent loss of balance are much dreaded by primitives who call it loss of soul.
And if you ever disrespect the gift from God, it's a sin, and you're going to pay for that sin. You see, I get high. I get high. I don't know what the big deal about getting high is. I get high. You got to get high. Anybody tells you not to get high, they lying to you. You got to get high.
Another threat to the inner balance comes from excessive daydreaming, which in a secret way usually circles around particular complexes.
The world is like a ride at an amusement park, and when you choose to go on it, you think it's real, because that's how powerful our minds are. And the ride goes up and down and round and round. It has thrills and chills, and it's very brightly colored, and it's very loud, and it's fun for a while. Some people have been on the ride for a long time, and they begin to question, is this real, or is this just a ride? And other people have remembered, and they come back to us, and they say, hey, don't worry, don't be afraid, ever, because this is just a ride. And we kill those people.
You ain't knowing what we mean by staring through the rear view. So since you ain't knowing what we mean, let me bring a better understanding. The world's behind us. Once a motherfucker get an understanding on the game and what the levels and the rules of the game is, then the world ain't no trick no more. The world is a game to be played. So now we looking at world from behind us.
In fact, Daydreams arise just because they connect a man with his complexes. At the same time, they threaten the concentration and continuity of his consciousness.
Imagine living like I wasn't immersed in a movie star type atmosphere, movie maker atmosphere, because I was like raised with that in my field of vision all the time. I was
being a photographer that drives around trying to take pictures of celebrities, and that's your job to make money.
What's that?
That's all you do is you drive around. You're like a leech. You just take pictures of people, like in certain instances, like when they're about to put spaghetti in their mouth.
Pussy out, party with your pussy out. I like it when you scream and shout that shit. I like it when your bitch.
And stuff like that. Like that's your life. Yeah. And you don't think anything is like wrong with that at all. You're like, oh, you know, gotta make a dollar. Gotta make a dollar. Right. You know. Right.
This is my body, which is for you. Do this in remembrance of me.
Hey, Jesus, you really pissed off those money changers at the temple, huh?
Yeah.
How come there's no chicks here?
Could you leave, please?
Hey, just doing my job, man.
Enough.
Hey,
you got your shot. Let's
don't
go.
touch
Come
me,
on.
man.
Come on.
Gotta be a part of the machine. Gotta be a part of the machine. Can't make another choice, man.
I like the way we make movies now. The way I make movies now. I think I have got people with maybe spaghetti in their mouth, but I would hope that I'm looking to be respectful.
Yeah, you're not putting that on the National Enquirer.
Yeah. I'm not putting it in the National Enquirer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We shall see.
The second obstacle is exactly the opposite, and is due to an overconsolidation of ego consciousness. Although a disciplined consciousness is necessary for the performance of civilized activities, we know what happens if a railway signalman lapses into daydreaming. It has the serious disadvantage that it is apt to block the reception of impulses and messages coming from the center. This is why so many dreams of civilized people are concerned with restoring this receptivity by attempting to correct the attitude of consciousness toward the unconscious center or self. In fact, whenever a human being genuinely turns to the inner world and tries to know himself, not by ruminating about his subjective thoughts and feelings, but by following the expressions of his own objective nature, such as dreams and genuine fantasies, then sooner or later the self emerges. The ego will then find an inner power that contains all the possibilities of renewal. But there is a great difficulty that I have mentioned only indirectly up till now. This is that every personification of the unconscious, the shadow, the anima, the animus, and the self, has both a light and a dark aspect. We saw before that the shadow may be base or evil, an instinctive drive that one ought to overcome. It may, however, be an impulse toward growth that one should cultivate and follow. In the same way, the anima and animus have dual aspects. They can bring life-giving development and creativeness to the personality, or they can cause petrification and physical death. And even the self, the all-embracing symbol of the unconscious, has an ambivalent effect, as for instance in the Eskimo tale, when the little woman offered to save the heroine from the moon spirit, but actually turned her into a spider. The dark side of the self is the most dangerous thing of all, precisely because the self is the greatest power in the psyche. It can cause people to spin megalomaniac or other delusory fantasies that catch them up and possess them. A person in this state thinks with mounting excitement that he has grasped and solved the great cosmic riddles. He therefore loses all touch with human reality. A reliable symptom of this condition is the loss of one's sense of humor and of human contacts. Thus, the emerging of the self may bring great danger to a man's conscious ego. In order to understand the symbolic indications of the unconscious, one must be careful not to get outside oneself or beside oneself, but to stay emotionally within oneself. Indeed, it is vitally important that the ego should continue to function in normal ways. Only if I remain an ordinary human being, conscious of my incompleteness, can I become receptive to the significant contents and processes of the unconscious. But how can a human being stand the tension of feeling himself at one with the whole universe while at the same time he is only a miserable earthly human creature. If, on the one hand, I despise myself as merely a statistical cipher, my life has no meaning and is not worth living. But if, on the other hand, I feel myself to be part of something much greater, how am I to keep my feet on the ground? It is very difficult indeed to keep these inner opposites united within oneself without toppling over into one or the other extreme.
I am perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonic, and happy.
Fear tonight is all.